Okay, since I haven't judged a lot, do we just go like, "Welcome to Smash Fiction Podcast."
Welcome to Smash Fiction, the podcast where we put pit two or more fictional characters against one another in a battle of strength or wits
I've
or
redone that. I'll just do it my way.
Go for it.
Okay. Welcome to the Smash Fiction Podcast, where we solve the greatest nerd fights with the power of an enormous sword, hellfire itself, or spiny wings that I definitely would not want to get poked with. Today, we have a very pointy three-pronged fight between Arthas the Lich King, Diablo the Lord of Terror, and Kerrigan, the Queen of Blades. Arthas, Diablo, and Kerrigan sign up for a Hearthstone tournament, but learn they are totally unprepared for cards from the Grand Tournament. After hearing a rumor and investigating, they discover that an epic set of legendary cards are located in another world called Tamriel, specifically Skyrim, held by someone named Maik. The competitors cross over into Skyrim to the area the cards were last reported being seen at, Whiterun. Only something has gone terribly wrong. It seems an aspiring modder, who set up the challenge, got carried away with his console commands and spawned never-ending elder dragons, crashing his toaster of a computer and now has no way to stop the madness. Considering that this fight will first take place in a large swath of land, complete with mountains, a canyon, a lake, hills, and ancient ruins, each competitor will have access to their units and followers from each of their respective games to use here. The fight will transition to inside the town of Whiterun, with all of a fantasy town's usual amenities, with each competitor going against each other 1v1v1 in the quest to find the cards. Only one competitor can be left in the end. The other two must be annihilated. How will each competitor first take out each other's armies and then each other inside a town while dealing with a sky full of dragons? I don't know, and that's why I, Liz Logan, will be moderating the fight between these three Blizzard villains. Arguing for Arthas is Dan Mulcairn.
Frostmourne hungers.
Arguing for Diablo is Miles Schneiderman.
How tastes your fear?
Arguing for Kerrigan is Colin Mulcairn.
Spawn more overlords.
Oh, that's so good! Okay, yeah. Our main battle will be structured like this. Each advocate gets an opening argument round, and then we will have a round of rebuttals focusing on each villain. To determine who goes first, the participants have been judged in a Who Wore the Spiky Things Best competition. Dan will be going first for Arthas, then Colin with Kerrigan, and then Miles with Diablo. The Lich King, you have the floor.
The Undead Scourge is absolutely going to bulldoze its way over aliens and demons alike. Their leader, the Lich King, is a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. Before he fully merged with the Lich King, Arthas crushed the armies of both Lordaeron and Silvermoon, the latter of which led to the elves having to turn to blood magic in order to avoid extinction. That was when he was still basically just a dude with a magic sword. Since he's fully become the Lich King, he is now, for all intents and purposes, a god. He's also a peerless manipulator and strategist, and is very experienced at turning his enemies against each other, as when he used the millennia-old Night Elf demon hunter Illidan Stormrage to remove his demonic rival Tychondrius. The Lich King has the ability to telepathically contact anyone who is suitably evil to come and join his side as a servant. Soon, any natives of Skyrim with even the slightest bit of darkness in their hearts will be lining up to serve as acolytes and meat shields. It doesn't matter if they were Imperials or Stormcloaks in their lives before, they have a new master now. The Lich King, as I mentioned, is essentially a god, and probably the strongest individual we've ever had on Smash Fiction. He is effectively immortal and possesses godlike strength and durability, the ability to channel enough necromantic energy to level rooms full of opponents at once, an unbreakable iron will, and the ability to telepathically dominate not only the undead, but even many living creatures as well. The Lich King wields the rune blade Frostmourne, a sword of ridiculous levels of power that can consume souls, transferring the skills and memories of the victim to the Lich King. It's stated that there are thousands of souls that Frostmourne has consumed, meaning the Lich King has the skills of thousands of warriors combined. In Warcraft 3, Frostmourne deals chaos damage, which is effective against all types of armor, including those of structures, meaning it can basically cut buildings in half. No demonic hide or Zerg carapace is going to be able to stand up to that. When it comes to dealing with the environments they'll be fighting in, Kerrigan and Diablo can take their pick for all I care. The Scourge will wipe them out regardless. Any sort of urban setting will provide plenty of living beings that can easily be infected with the Plague of Undeath, and plenty of corpses in graveyards that will claw their way up through the soil, eager to kill. Wide open spaces will allow the vast vast hordes of undead to fall upon enemies with full force. But even tighter quarters like ruins and caves will provide no hindrance to them, as the undead employ shades which can move invisibly through walls, allowing them to effortlessly set up lethal ambushes for their oblivious foes. No, actually I do mean food. And Talos help the enemies of the Lich King if the battle takes place in any of the many, many, many Arctic locations in Skyrim. The Lich King and his minions revel in the sorts of environments that will freeze anything that still has blood in its veins. The Scourge has, no question, the largest and most diverse army of all three sides, and it's only going to get larger and more diverse as this war rages on. That's the thing about having an army made of necromancers. Every time a foe dies, that foe joins your team. Not only will Kerrigan be down a Hydralisk, but the Lich King will be up a zombie acid spitter. On top of that, the Lich King has made innumerable pacts and deals with demons in the past. He'll be able to grab Diablo's minions away from him, adding them to his army or just leaving them as spies and sleeper agents. And let's talk for a second about Skyrim's most infamous enemies, the dragons. The Lich King is the only one here who has actually fought dragons, and killed dragons, and added dragons to his undead army. This whole world is basically a buffet for the Lich King, who can have his pick of whatever minions he wants, be they giants or mammoths or draugr. As the Lich King himself says, all life must end, and that includes demons and aliens alike. In the end, they'll all bow to him. The only difference is whether they do so before or after he kills them.
All right. Kerrigan, you have the floor.
It's funny that you mentioned Arthas being the strongest character we had in Smash Fiction so far, because my opening here that I had was that we've had some pretty awesome competitors on Smash Fiction, but I thought that Kerrigan was the strongest that we've had so far.
Wow.
What? So yeah, Kerrigan began her life as a phenomenally powerful young Terran psychic with abilities so great that they forced the Confederacy to restructure its psionic classification system to account for being so powerful. Oh yeah, and then she got years of military training and psychological conditioning to turn her into a hardened warrior. She became a ghost and was one of the best Terran soldiers in the Caprulu sector. And she hasn't even gotten started yet. After being abandoned by her superiors and left alone on a mission on Tarsonis, Kerrigan was overwhelmed by thousands of Zerg, taken prisoner, and the Overmind, the leader of the Zerg, remade her as the Queen of Blades, a human-Zerg hybrid that he describes as his finest creation. She's bulletproof, able to psychically fly, and she could rip apart Neosteel with her bare hands. During the StarCraft II Wings of Liberty campaign, whenever you encounter Kerrigan on missions, she is immune to damage, and she can kill any unit you throw at her instantly. Tanks, spaceships, giant mechs, it doesn't matter. All you can do is run away from her. She's that much of a force of nature that the game designers decided that the best way to represent her in the game was as a thing that cannot be killed by any means and must simply be avoided. In her years since becoming the Queen of Blades, Kerrigan's powers have grown exponentially to the point where she can simultaneously command millions of Zerg units strewn across multiple star systems. Yeah, that's millions with a B, which stands for badass. In StarCraft 2, Kerrigan's ultimate ability, Apocalypse, unleashes a blast of psionic energy capable of leveling cities. We see how powerful nukes are in StarCraft. You can call down nuclear missiles, and the psychic power within Kerrigan's mind is stronger than a nuke. Her brain can generate psionic blasts more powerful than nuclear bombs. As far as forces are concerned, the Zerg are such an amazingly vast and versatile fighting force that nothing in the galaxy can stop them. You got troops, we got lurkers, you got flyers, we got spore colonies, you got reinforced walls, we got ultralisks. If we don't have a solution to a given problem, we'll have Abathur, Kerrigan's personal genetic engineer a new strain of Zerg to solve the problem. And we have millions of Zerg, enough to cover the surfaces and darken the skies of dozens of planets. And you'd better hope that the Zerg don't get their hands on any undead or demons, or we will also add them to our ranks the same way the undead do. But it won't just be one that we add, it will be the ability to mass produce that unit from then on within seconds. Arthas and Diablo have been working for a really long time to try to conquer Azeroth and Sanctuary respectively. And man, it's been a long, hard process for them, but who can blame them? I mean, it's a tough thing to conquer and maintain control of a whole world like that. If there was ever a villain who could conquer a whole planet, or maybe even multiple worlds, that would be a pretty great villain, wouldn't it? Well, over the course of the StarCraft games, the Queen of Blades conquers dozens of worlds and slays billions of enemy soldiers. That's billions with a Z, which stands for Zerg. I'm done.
All right. Miles, as Diablo, you have the floor.
You know, we've had a lot of really powerful characters here on Smash. But I don't think we've ever quite had the devil himself. Your terribly mortal insect species and your woefully inadequate undead are no match for the Lord of Hell. In any confrontation, be it direct combat or large-scale warfare, the powers of Diablo will prevail. Zerg die, and necromantic overlords come and go. But Hellfire is forever. Let's start with Kerrigan. A few obvious points stand out here. First, while the Zerg legions and the hordes of Diablo are similarly massive and swarming, the fact remains that Zerg are mortal and must be replaced, while Diablo's minions are constantly regenerating, even the unique ones. In Diablo 2, if you ever leave the game by saving it, they all come back when you return. Every single one of them. As a result, Diablo's army is functionally indestructible. He can bring his fallen warriors back to life or summon more in an instant, while the Zerg take time to replenish.
The Lich King does not need to save his game, sir.
He just needs to reset the raid.
Moreover, while the Zerg have a technological advantage, there's really nothing they can do against, magic. Kerrigan would have no choice but to try and take Diablo on in a face-to-face fight, and that's not a battle she can win. She might be a really powerful psychic, but we've seen in the StarCraft games that this leaves her mind open to manipulation and corruption, and that is Diablo's whole game. Even in his weakest form, when he's trapped inside a soulstone, Diablo warps the minds of those around him and brings their darkest nightmares to life. And Kerrigan has so many inner demons, it will be child's play for Diablo to feast on her fears and corrupt her as his own, far more thoroughly than any Overmind. As for the Lich King, he's comparable to Diablo in that he deals in magic and the undead, but in this case, he faces an enemy that does the same thing, only better. Diablo is one of the prime evils. He and his brothers have waged war against heaven itself. The Lich King can't even conquer Azeroth. Diablo is older and more powerful. He cannot truly be destroyed, only contained. It's much easier to imagine the Lich King bending the knee in submission to his true master than Diablo doing anything but snorting in demonic contempt at the paltry powers of the Frostmourne. With an E at the end. How stupid is that? In either case, the side of the armies brought to bear by Kerrigan and the Lich King pale in comparison to the endless hordes of hell. Neither of them possess the capacity to use holy power against Diablo, which is one of the only things capable of even slowing him down. The chaos of unleashed dragons means very little to a being who is immune to fire and who thrives on unleashing infernal fire of his own. And if we're being real about this, then let's be real. Where do you think the evil minions of Kerrigan and the Lich King are going once Diablo's forces mow them down? That's right. Hell, motherfuckers. Every soldier they lose in battle becomes another servant to Diablo's army. You're dealing with the ultimate evil here, kids. You play with Hellfire, you're gonna get burned.
All right, now that we've finished our main arguments, we're going to move on to the rebuttal round. First, we'll talk about Arthas. Everyone, feel free to rebut.
Bring it on, guys.
Okay, I guess I'll get started. You talk about Arthas' abilities as a manipulator. Well, in StarCraft Brood War, Kerrigan proves that she's a political puppeteer without equal. She manages to convince everyone in the Protoss and the Zerg that with the Overmind taken out of the picture, she's good again, and, she's repentant for what she does, and she needs their help gaining control of all of the Zerg to make sure they don't hurt anybody, of course, and they help her ascend in power and gaining control of all of the Zerg, and then she backstabs everybody, of course, and kills millions more people because she is an awesome manipulator, able to manipulate people not just with her psychic powers, but also with just the fact that she's super smart and super resourcewul.
Yeah, you know why that worked in StarCraft? Because it was against humans who were afraid of Zerg. Is she gonna try to negotiate with zombies? Those beings are all afraid of Zerg. The undead are not afraid of the Zerg or of anything. Like, you can't negotiate with these people, and if you try, they're gonna bite your throat out.
I definitely would take issue with your claim that you have, by all means, a larger army, Dan, because I think that, once again, the never-ending hordes of hell have got you a little bit beat on that score.
Or, armies that go across multiple planets and not just one.
Hey, Colin?
Yeah.
I'm going to say something. Tell me if this rings any bells for you. You require more Vespene gas.
Well, you
There's
don't
not
have
a lot
enough
of
lumber,
Vespine-
so
there's
Hey,
tons of
you know
trees
what?
on Skyrim. There's tons of gold on Skyrim. There's no Vespine gas or weird alien crystals on Skyrim. Kerrigan is stuck with whatever she brings to the party. Arthas can have his pick of living or dead creatures that are around, be they demons or aliens or random civilians from Skyrim.
You do still have to spend time producing them, which is a disadvantage Diablo does not have. And when it comes to Frostmourne, you know, all this thing of like him sucking souls into his sword and everything, yeah, been there, done that. Even if somehow Frostmourne does manage to suck Diablo into it, he can still do damage from there. That doesn't exactly help you.
Yeah, it kind of takes time for Diablo to take root in a mind, though. By that time, Arthas will have claimed the all-important and all-coveted Hearthstone cards. And also, Arthas actually has experience with taking over other personalities when they are incorporated into his own. The Lich King itself is a composite being made up of Ner'zhul and also Arthas himself. And it was Arthas's will that came out on top. He's wrestled with minds before. He can do it again.
Not like the Lord of Hell. I'm just gonna say, if he actually does do that, I'm pretty sure the dominant personality will basically just make him another Diablo. That's, again, how Diablo rolls. He takes a host and dominates everything that they are, considering that the Lich King has infernal masters that are basically the ones on Diablo's power scale. I don't think this is much of a contest.
I don't care how powerful his willpower is or how much of a, manipulator he is. Arthas is still a being with a physical body. When a psionic storm hits him with the force of a nuclear blast, I don't see him being able to stand up to that.
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, there is literally no way that Kerrigan and Diablo can defeat the Lich King. During the Wrath of the Lich King expansion for World of Warcraft, it's established that the Lich King can only be killed on top of the Frozen Throne. Good luck finding that in Skyrim.
Arthas could still be destroyed, right? His physical body. I mean, I was playing that game and I died plenty of times trying
And
to
he
get through
can
those
be-
stupid dungeons and with a place
Yeah,
with the spiders, whatever that was
That's
called.
before he merges with Ner'zhul, though. Like, you don't
He can
play
still be contained, though, can't he?
by what means did you have in mind?
I don't know. I'm gonna shove a pointy rock into his head and see what happens.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and lean on the can't be killed except on top of the Frozen Throne thing.
Also, Dan, this whole ice theme you've got going on, just saying, I've got a fire thing going on over here. Lots and lots of fiery spells to melt your little ice stuff.
Well, when Diablo telegraphs his attacks the way he does, like anytime, as soon as he starts putting his hand up to his face, the Lich King just needs to take 3 steps to the left, and then that attack is wasted. It's not that difficult to recognize the pattern. And again, his attacks aren't going to hurt the Lich King. They just can't kill him, because the Frozen Throne is nowhere to be seen.
They can hurt him, though.
I don't think so. I think he'll be just
pretty
fine.
sure they can hurt him.
No.
Pretty sure he's not going to be just fine. Pretty sure he's going to have, you're going to need skin grafts.
Skin grafts.
Yes. Zombie skin grafts.
If he is so awesome, why does he need this giant army? I mean, even if he cannot be destroyed himself, we can defeat his army and maintain control of this place.
So about the army, let's talk about the stuff he has. He has zombie skeletons and ghouls by the truckload. I mean, they're cannon fodder, but they're undeniably strong and tough, ridiculously numerous.
Hey, I have those too.
I got Zerglings, dude. If you want to talk about absurdly numerous cannon fodder.
Colin, you can't replenish your forces. You don't have any Vespine gas or mineral crystals.
That's not okay. There's Vespine gas
on every planet that you visit in StarCraft.
Yeah,
so
there's
I'm
Vespine
guessing
gas.
that they're somewhere on Skyrim, and people just don't know what they are because every freaking planet that you go to in StarCraft has Vespine gas and minerals on it.
Here's
so
the other thing, Colin. You gotta establish your creep before you can do anything. Like, you have to wait for this carpet of nastiness to spread out before you can build anything on there. Whereas all I need to do is cast a reanimation spell on Zerg. All I have to do. No, but see, here's the thing. You take my numbers down, all I need to do is reclaim any of your corpses, and your guys are mine. I am the fastest at... I'm speaking in the first person all of a sudden. See, this is the power of the Lich King. He's dominating
He's corrupting
me
your
from across
mind.
worlds.
In the evolution missions in StarCraft 2, Abathur, the genetic engineer who works for the Zerg, proves that once the Zerg basically eat a creature, they can integrate it within seconds and like have a new strain of Zerg available. You know, they just pop into like a little cocoon for like 10 seconds or whatever, and he can pop out with a brand new type of Zerg. So if you want to talk about being able to evolve quickly, the first time we eat, you know, what are the crypt fiends? Are those the spider guys? Yeah.
Those are the mummy spiders that we have.
Yeah.
So you'll be ingesting the plague of undeath that will then turn your guys to my side, which are now hybrid Zerg spiders. That sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, let's do that.
You know what you don't have?
What's that?
Succubi.
Well,
Just saying. I got succubi.
Okay, everyone wrap up on Arthas.
That's a fair point. Were you planning on seducing some ghouls or some meat wagons? Is that what the plan was?
More shooting endless waves of magical destruction across the landscape. But,
I have liches. I think that pretty much counts. I have
magi.
I have giant obsidian statues which can attack land and air units and regenerate nearby undead.
Balrogs.
I have frostworms, which are undead dragons. I mean, I got a few of those.
Yeah. Well, I got Hell Knights.
I have Death Knights.
Hell, but your Death Knights are stupid.
I have vampire giants.
Order!
That turned into a pissing contest real quick.
My goodness.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Mine's bigger than yours.
Little bit of cleanup. There is Vespene gas in this area.
Everyone knows that. Come on, Skyrim's lousy with Vespene gas.
And the whole Lich King not being able to die on top of the frozen throne, I'm not going to accept that as valid evidence because that kind of destroys the spirit of the fight. But
may I submit a rebuttal to that then, or something which I feel like will
would be an objection. But yes,
sure.
You may.
I would like to submit an affidavit. No, I don't know anything about courtroom dialogue. Anyway, so the Lich King almost got killed when Illidan cast a spell. And in fact, it would have killed him if Malfurion hadn't intervened. Now, in all fairness, this was at the end of Illidan's epic quest in which he had to get the Eye of Sargeras and use all the collected power of the wizard city of Dalaran. And that much magical energy would kill anyone, including Kerrigan and Diablo, that it was cast upon. And Illidan stopped casting the spell because his brother Malfurion pointed out that it was destroying the world. The only way you could kill the Lich King would be to gather up enough power to break the planet apart.
I'm actually okay with that.
All right,
we can destroy this planet. Yeah,
let's move on.
I destroy planets all the time. It's not a problem.
There are more.
Excellent segue. Colin, defend Kerrigan.
Come at me, bro.
All right,
bros.
So Kerrigan is so weighted down by the remnants of her humanity that it's a wonder she can get anything done. Like,
God, it really is.
In the end of the Brood War, Kerrigan herself says that she's growing weary of slaughter. She refuses to sacrifice a human woman to the swarm just because it kind of reminds her of herself when she was a human. She almost gets killed when the shapeshifter Narud taunts her with images of Jim Raynor and of herself as a human.
I was going to say, she keeps not killing Jim Raynor over and over again.
And Zeratul kills this ally of his, and Kerrigan is just like, oh, I'm going to let you live with your guilt. That is a more fitting punishment. Like, is she a James Bond villain? Why doesn't she just, like, tie him to a conveyor belt with a buzzsaw in the end and then leave the room?
Okay.
That might actually have been more effective.
Kerrigan used to have friends, and she has people that she cares about, but she does not give a crap about Arthas, and she does not give a crap about Diablo. She is in love with Raynor, and so she's not going to hurt him, but these people are not going to be able to hurt her because she does not care about any of these people. She can just destroy them wantonly because they're just another obstacle in her way, and when something is just an obstacle, she kills it.
Yeah, but she lets her guard down when she sees people that remind her of herself or her friends. You know how many zombies I have at my command? Again, I'm talking in the first person. Yes. Do you know how many zombies I, the Lich King, have at my command? Do you know how many of them will look enough like Jim Raynor or like pre-infestation Sarah Kerrigan that Kerrigan will see it, let down her guard, and then be beset upon by frostworms?
I think it can be safely said that given the extent of the range of Kerrigan's emotions and the fullness in which she acts on them, Kerrigan possesses fears. She has fears. She has inner demons, like I said before. She's got all this stuff going on, and fear is just like it's tasty, tasty candy to the Lord of Terror, my friend.
I've heard it's the mind killer.
Diablo can actually appear in the form of whatever it is that you fear most.
Oh boy,
That's
Kerrigan
gonna
has a
fuck
couple
with
of
her head.
those.
Okay,
Yeah.
but she proves that she's able to get past it. It freaked her out when she saw it, but then she went and freaking killed Nerud.
Yeah.
All I need is that one moment, sir.
Well,
That
she's
one
gotten
moment.
over it. If she's had that experience, it's not going to phase her again. I mean, it threw her for a loop when she saw a ghost image of herself from her past, and when she saw Raynor, who she thought was dead, she was told he was dead, and then she saw him standing there in front of her, and of course that's going to freak you out a little bit, but...
Yeah.
It'll freak out someone who still has remnants of humanity. I don't think the Lich King or Diablo have a whole lot of humanity left to mess with.
Great,
It'll
so
freak her-
Kerrigan will have no qualms killing them, because
Yeah,
if
it'll
it comes
freak her
down to
out
a
long
straight
enough.
fight, there's no one who can defeat her, and if she does not see them as human, which she won't, she'll see them as the horrible freaking monsters that they are, whereas like ordinary humans have been able to defeat Arthas and have been able to defeat Diablo. If I recall correctly, Diablo got just defeated by a bunch of friggin' adventurers, as does Arthas at the end of WoW.
Yeah, again, if you corner him on the Frozen Throne, and you have to be using a very particular magic blade to smash Frostmourne first.
Okay.
Yeah, and also the best way, the reason that those adventurers were able to defeat Diablo was because they possessed the ability to summon holy magic. I don't think you're doing that.
Similarly, there's only one thing that's been able to be shown that can defeat Kerrigan. That's a certain Zelnaga artifact. So if you don't have that, then you cannot hurt her. That's the only way that anyone's been able to defeat Kerrigan. If you don't have that, then basically, as I've said, when you fight her in the Wings of Liberty campaign, she is immune to damage and kills all units she comes across instantly. And then when
Immune
you get
to puny mortal damage.
immune to whatever you throw at her, I don't think that fire from dragons or hellfire is going to necessarily hit harder than a rocket-propelled grenade or, you know, an airstrike or a nuke or something like that from the terrorists.
I don't know, man. I got something called Apocalypse 2. I'm speaking in the first person now. Thanks, Dan. Diablo, have something called Apocalypse 2, and that's the bit where, oh yeah, I open a fissure in the ground beneath your feet, and fire shoots out from under it and engulfs you.
Also, okay, so Kerrigan can shrug off bullets in this ridiculous sort of god mode that she gets when she appears in certain levels of StarCraft, but I don't
Actually,
know
if you
that-
put the game in God mode, you still can't kill her, and she can kill all of your units instantly, even when you have your units being immune to damage from being in God mode. In this mode, continue on, sir.
Fine. I don't know that makes her immune to the undead plague. And once that gets inside her system, she is the Lich King's. You know, she still has a functioning biology. And that's all I'm going to need before I take command of her and start using her as one of my many, many servants.
That's if I don't get to her mind first and use my corruption of the minds of mortals against her, which has happened to her before.
In order to get there, you're going to have to wade through an army that is way vaster than any of yours. I know you guys say that you have the vastest army, but I got the vastest army, man. I got
the vastest army.
There are billions of Zerg. There are billions of Zerg. None of you can compete with that. Sorry,
How
goes
many
across
people have
planets.
ever died ever?
What's that?
I'm just asking. What's the number of people who have died? Period in the history of ever. Because that's how many I have.
In the history of one planet of Sanctuary, this is going across an entire galaxy. Is Kerrigan's army spans?
Look, the longer you guys want to
There's
fight,
only
the
one
more
hell, my friend.
The
It
longer
sounds
you guys
like
wanna
you're
fight,
saying
the more
everyone's
soldiers you're gonna
going to
give me.
hell.
The thing is,
I'll say this much: a damn sight more people are going to hell than are going to heaven.
So I was like, that's
God
a
is
lot.
kind of a dick. I don't know if you've noticed.
so Kerrigan is seen to be vulnerable to psychic attack, and both the Lich King and Diablo have telepathic abilities, so they can very easily cripple Kerrigan's mental abilities, and they
Very
don't have to
easily?
wait through armies to get there.
Very easily. I mean, the psychic power scale is a scale from 1 to 10 in the Psi Index, I think they call it. And Kerrigan was a class 10 psychic when she was a human. Now she's a class 12. So she is off the charts.
Man, I'm really disappointed that it wasn't 11.
I know.
Be honest.
She was a
Come on,
class 11
Blizzard.
when she first becomes the Queen of Blades.
All right, we got to wrap
and
up
then-
here.
And then after she goes to Xeris and merges with the first breeding pool and gets even way more stupid powerful than she already was, then she becomes a class 12 psychic.
Throw your billions of Zerg at me as much as you want. When they die, they will become mine, and then they will fight you. So that's
or
fine.
they will become mine and then they will fight you.
And I could
Order!
All right.
As it stands right now, it seems like Zerg turn into Scourge, which turn into
That's right.
dead
Turn into
things, demons.
How do they turn into Diablo's servants? They turn into Scourge. End of story.
I'm just saying that's
you may
that's
have their
what-
bodies, Dan, but I have their souls.
That's what
I still have ghosts and banshees.
And then I turn
Yeah, a
them back.
few.
I will have order!
Is this like a big circle? Is this like the recycle thing? Then they become Zerg again when the Zerg eat them?
That's right.
That's the circle of life. That's what they were talking about in The Lion King.
So let's end with the circle of life, talking about the devil. Diablo, Miles, you have the floor.
Circle of death, and I don't have the floor. They gotta attack me, right?
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Okay.
Has there ever been a more overrated villain than freaking Diablo?
Yeah, the Lich King.
This guy is supposed to be the baddest of the demons, the Lord of Terror, but apparently that whole inspiring fear thing doesn't extend to actually having any real archdemon level power, because every time this dude sets an evil plan in motion, he gets killed. And who is it that kills Diablo every time he gets his evil going, you ask? Is it the mightiest of archangels? Is it an army of men and elves and dwarves gathered from the far corners of the world? No. Every time Diablo gets killed by a single random dude that isn't even given a backstory in the first 2 Diablo games. Every single time he gets chumped by generic adventurer number 107. You know, the Lich King's army has battalions made up of zombies that used to be adventurers who tried to go kill him. Any one of them could take out Diablo, to say nothing of the Lich King himself.
First of all, killed is probably not quite the right word. Defeated, I will grant you. But to act as though it's just, generic adventure number 107, do you have any idea what you have to do to get to the power levels in that game necessary to defeat Diablo? It's ridiculous. You need full sets of magic weapons, and then you need to set, like, magic jewels in those magic weapons to make them better. You need helms, you need armors, you need spells, and even then, you're probably going to want to save a lot because you're going to die a lot in the attempt.
Yep.
To act as though just anyone can put on a sword and kill Diablo is fundamentally ridiculous.
Good thing we're not anyone. We're the Queen of Friggin' Blades. And
Yeah.
Okay, well, the Queen of Blades doesn't have Holy Bolt, so what are you going to do against him exactly?
We're going to go find some clerics and turn them into Zerg, and then we're going to get Holy
Okay.
Bolt and add it to the powers of the Swarm.
I've never seen any clerics in the StarCraft games, and if you try to find one in Skyrim, I'm pretty sure they're going to flee in terror.
Colin, who would cast that spell out of your units?
Probably Defilers.
Okay.
Or Birth Queens, because those probably have the best minds out of all of those.
I also do want to say
that Abathur is able to, when you defeat certain units, create substrains of units. Like you can create Zerglings that have the ability to leap. We could make like an alternate strain of Defilers or Birth Queens that would have magic, because they're already powerful psychics with super big brains. So anyway,
those cards would already be mine, sir. Those cards would already be mine. I also want to
clerics
say
are not going to hell when they die. I will let you know that. You will not.
fair enough. I'll concede you that point. I also want to say that in terms of the full-scale war between the two, Diablo's minions have a huge advantage over the stuff you guys are bringing to the table, which is this. I don't just have, like you guys have, Defilers, you got Ultralisks, you got, I don't know, whatever, skeletons, whatever lame-ass shit the Lich King is bringing to the table.
Yeah, lame-ass zombie dragons.
Yeah, lame-ass zombie dragons, that kind of stuff. The hordes of Diablo contain like multiple classes of critter and beast that are all different based on the individual strains you're fighting against. So, for example, we talked about the succubi. The succubi have totally different weaknesses and different abilities and ways they can hurt you based on whether or not they're a snow witch or a blood witch or whatever the hell kind of succubus they are. And that goes for literally every type of monster in the Diablo games. So you're going to have to spend precious time figuring out, which one of this, what kind of magic or what kind of combat should I use against this particular minion, and by that time the Hell Knights are going to overrun you, man. It's happening.
I think I'm just going to summon a fleet of Leviathans, which are organic capital ships that are able to just rain down radiation and shit down on the planet and just not even care what your weaknesses are, and you're just going to get annihilated by beings that are larger than the starship freaking Enterprise.
You're not going to do that because I will bring the powers of hell. And also, to bear, I should have said. I should have finished that sentence.
Bring them somewhere.
That's right. And also, I might add that if you guys do fuck with Diablo, like if you make that mistake, I don't advise it, but if you do, he's got brothers, guys. He's got a bunch of other primevals and
They're
even
not
bigger than
here,
primevals.
Miles. They're not here.
They can show up whenever they want to. He can call them.
All right, look.
They
in case-
are technically his units.
All right.
Okay.
They
Right.
do. He is the lord of.
Well, then
Terror.
Kerrigan has swarm queens, which are also super powerful psychic Zerg that are super smart, that serve her, that can command
I
their
would
own
also-
fleets of millions.
I would also give that to you. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So, in case there is any lingering doubt as to the Lich King superiority over Diablo, I have solid numerical proof.
Oh
So,
my god, this is gonna be so ridiculous.
in
All right.
the 3rd edition D&D module,
Oh my
based
God.
on
It was
Diablo
gonna
2.
happen.
in the 3rd edition D&D module based on Diablo 2, Diablo sits at CR 44. In the 3rd edition D&D Warcraft setting, the Lich King is CR 50. To give you a comparison, another CR 50 character from the D20 Call of Cthulhu is freaking Azathoth, whom you might know as the god that Cthulhu worships. So, you know, if Cthulhu himself met the Lich King, he would bow down before him.
Well, the Lich King will bow down before Diablo because you know what? We don't use D&D rules on this podcast, my friend.
I don't know, man. The numbers are not in your favor,
Okay,
sir.
well,
The
one of
numbers
the
are imaginary.
one of the classes in Diablo is a barbarian, right? Guy with a sword. I'm pretty sure that guns beat swords every time, and Zerg beat guns. So I think that we've kind of see the progression here.
Whatever, Hellfire. I'm just
can
gonna
be
say it
beat by a
again.
dude with a sword, apparently, and then So yeah.
A badass dude with a sword who goes on like an insane quest and fights his way through hell.
Yeah,
Neither
but-
of you have ever done that.
But doesn't necessarily need holy magic to defeat Diablo. If you go up there and you start hitting him with a significantly powerful sword, like I don't know, I got this rune sword lying around here. It's pretty strong.
Oh, yeah.
I could probably
Good luck with
kill
that.
Diablo with that.
Good luck with that. Have you ever tried to do that in the actual game? Because
Well,
it doesn't work.
That's because you're a random dude in Diablo.
You're a random dude with awesome fucking weapons.
Gotta
Yeah.
wrap up.
But right now, I'm the Lich King. And I am the embodiment of thousands of warriors, all held within an indestructible undead body, with an army of undead behind me, a lot of whom are your demons, which I've either convinced to join my side or killed and reanimated.
I've already reanimated all your broken skeletons,
I've
man.
psychically
Come on now.
dominated all of your minions by now.
I
So.
The
got
undead are
skeleton-
mindless. That's not
I
possible.
got the skeleton
Order!
king on my side.
Hey,
all right, the skeleton king commands his skeletons.
Can I get one?
And yours.
One
Can I
more
get one-
point. Go
One more
ahead.
point real quick. Kerrigan can also come back from the dead if she gets killed. 'Cause
Order!
she can deep huddle into a chrysalis
That's
and
enough.
rebuild herself. So,
But
I
again,
also
I
can't
have
die.
her soul.
Okay, we have determined that all the Blizzard villains are incredibly similar. Stop.
It's like scissors, scissors, scissors.
Right?
All
This was
right,
your idea, Liz.
and I loved it. You guys did a really, really great job. So, wow, what a dark and ominous main fight. Let's lighten up it a little bit with a lightning round.
Yeah. I feast on the fear of the lightning round.
Oh, Diablo's raising his hands to his face. It must be the lightning round. The red lightning round.
Have you ever wondered what these classic Blizzard villains were doing before they went on crazy rampages while burninating the countryside and its peasants? That's right.
Oh.
Mean Girls, Blizzard High Edition.
Oh my god.
What?
This lightning round is set in a time where the competitors are their young adult selves, full of dreams and poorly written young adult novels. Each competitor has their eyes set on becoming the top dog at Blizzard High.
Oh,
How will
God.
each of them do it? Will it be through academia, sports, or plain old awfulness? Will they have anybody to help them? Who will rise in the ranks above their peers and claim the coveted title of Queen or King bee? Will anyone make fetch happen? Let's find out.
I don't even understand what just happened.
Think
You
about
broke
that.
You broke my brain, Liz.
Diablo, you have the floor.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that Diablo would immediately rise to the heights of popularity at Blizzard High. I mean, first of all, you got that physique, man. I mean, look at that. The ladies are going to be all over, especially like superficial high school girls are going to be just all over that. All right. Diablo also has a significant advantage in that, as I mentioned before, he got a few big brothers. And if anybody ever gives him shit, you know, his big brothers are to come show him what's up. Sports. Pretty sure Diablo would have the sports. I mean, first of all, he's like huge. You put that guy on a football field. Maybe he's not as big, you know, in his youth as he is now, obviously. But I'm still pretty sure that he would wreak havoc in football, soccer, basketball, rugby, maybe, you know, lacrosse. I can see him being totally killer at lacrosse. I mean, you just imagine like him as quarterback lining up his guys, you know, on the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden, you know, as soon as the defenders come across the line of scrimmage, it just like opens up into this maw of hell. Like, you know, there's not really going to be any defenders left to stop him from scoring the touchdown in that case, which will eventually lead to an undefeated season. Blizzard High's first undefeated season ever, I might add. He will be just the hero of this school. It's not even funny. Plus, Diablo does like awesome magic. You know how popular magicians are? Super popular. All right, especially when their magic is real. We're talking about a magician jock combo that just can't be beat here, guys.
Sounds like Joe Bluth to me.
All right, I like that. Middle of the pack, Kerrigan, go ahead.
Well, Kerrigan's about to pull up to the front of the pack here. So look, if you want to be dominant throughout the school in terms of the most popular kid in school, you got to be well-rounded. You got to appeal to everybody. Kerrigan being obviously the prettiest girl in school, all of the girls are going to be looking up to her, and of course, all of the dudes are going to want to get with her. So she is, going to be
becoming Laura versus Indy all over again.
She's going to be popular with both genders there, and she's super smart. You know, she's being a psychic and being very well-read and intellectual. She's described as being somewhat introverted, so she's probably that pretty girl who is hot because she doesn't know that she's hot. You know, and. Unlike Diablo, who knows that he's hot, and that's his problem.
He's gonna so hot, dude.
And so,
like,
yeah, Diablo
in the metaphysical sense.
Diablo might be popular with the jocks and some of the more shallow girls.
And the magician club, apparently.
Magician club, but. I don't know if the everyman can really relate to Diablo as much. You know, Arthas is probably going to be big with the countercultural kids, you know, sitting in the darkened back hallways of the school with his hair over his eyes, playing death metal and that kind of thing. But I don't really see him. I don't really see him breaking through with the mainstream crowd. But I mean, Kerrigan, she's got it all. She appeals to everybody. Everybody wants to be with her, and she's just so awesome and so humble. I think it's pretty obvious that at this school, the queen bee is going to be the queen of bee.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. For
Colin,
Blizzard. No.
Have you ever... I know it's been a while since probably you've been to high school, but if you recall, things don't quite work that way in terms of who gets to the top in the high school hierarchy.
I'm glad you said that, Miles, because if I'm not mistaken, it's my turn.
Go ahead.
We've seen that Kerrigan tends to have some problems with mental trauma that was inflicted upon her when she was a human, and that has to do with her human life. And once she encounters the stares of the ladies and the mockery of the gents in high school, she is going to crumble apart like wet tissue paper as the kids make fun of her insectile carapace. Like, you're not going to get voted to prom queen with a carapace. It just doesn't happen. And Diablo...
Oh, she rocks that carapace, dude. I have not seen a girl who can rock carapace like Kerrigan.
Movie?
Let's talk Diablo. So Diablo is from hell, but he has never encountered a purgatorial torture that is high school. The first time someone makes fun of him for his chronic eczema problem, which is what they assume he has, and his horrific halitosis, he is going to know a mental agony, the likes of which not even he can inflict upon mortal souls. Now, I ask you all a question. What is the key to surviving, nay, thriving in high school? The answer is confidence. And who tends to be the most confident individual in a high school? Why, the rich kid is the most confident. Arthas is a noble. He was raised amongst humans in a noble society where he received the finest education, was given the finest of everything, and knew that he was better than everyone else. Those are the types of people that rise to the top in the hierarchical structure of high school. Is it fair? Of course it isn't. Is it going to happen? It always does, and it will this time too. Also, you talk about him,
Arthas
Kerrigan.
couldn't hook up with Jaina Proudmoore. She was way too good for him. He's not going to have any game.
I disagree, sir. Because, well, first of all, with his helmet off, he still looks the way he used to. He still is that very hunky sort of long
Except
blonde
now he
hair.
has like
Oh my
the
God,
purple skin.
You just called Arthas hunky. Oh my gosh.
He is hunky.
This
He's
is hilarious.
I'm not
Oh
saying.
wow,
look,
double down, Dan.
Listen, if he walked up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to have my blonde Nordic babies?" I'm not saying I would say yes, but I wouldn't immediately say no. Is all I'm saying.
I'd say yes.
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Nothing captures high schoolers like amazing guitar solos. And Arthas is an unlockable character in Guitar Hero. That is the truth. He can shred. He is athletic, he's rich, he's confident, he's hunky. Yeah, that's right, hunky. And he can shred. He is taking this hands down.
Man, that's just the tragedy of Arthas, man, is that, like, he's got all these things going for him, but you just know that Arthas, despite all these built-in advantages, his personality, he's just that kid who's all
He's just
creepy
still
and
the
hangs
weird
out in the
kid.
cemetery.
Yeah.
He
He's
hangs out in
still
the
the weird
cemetery
kid.
just, like, writing poetry about bodies and shit, like,
This
and how
isn't
much
about
he
being
wants
a
to
nice
bring them
guy.
back
This
to
is
life.
about being a confident guy.
I'm not
I
saying
think
he's
people
not a
are gonna
nice guy.
see
I'm
through-
saying he's creepy. He's a
Yeah.
creepy nerd.
I'm
We're gonna
still-
see through all of this, and they're gonna say, you know what? I know he's like rich, and he's like he should be good looking, but something's just not right about him. Like he's just dead behind those eyes. You know, he's just
like-
just not there.
Colin,
he's just,
this is high
you don't
school.
even-
Everyone's dead behind the eyes in high school.
Even if the girls do invite him to the party, he's just gonna, like, beg off because he has a seance to attend. You know, he's that guy. He's the guy that, like, everyone suspects secretly eats bugs.
I think
Versus Kerrigan and Diablo, who probably literally eat bugs.
Diablo feasts on the souls of his enemies, sir, which is why he doesn't have any.
Okay, order. First, let me get over the fact that I never thought I would hear Arthas be described as hunky. Anyway,
You could cut glass on those cheekbones.
hey, yeah. That's totally besides the point here.
That was that was how he carved out the frozen throne. He just rubbed his face up against it.
All right. So, last top off little question here. What nickname would your high school clique have?
Yeah, I think we're just gonna go with the tried and true. You know, Hell's Angels. I think that's would probably get mainstream appeal.
I'm gonna go with the Deadheads.
Hmm.
Arthas also really likes the Grateful Dead.
yeah. I mean, if
It's not.
Not a lot of shredding going on.
if
but I
she's,
guess a
if
little
she's
bit.
the queen bee, then I guess her group would be the Hive.
Ah.
It's not bad.
All right. That was extremely entertaining. Thank you all. I'm going to step out for a second and mull over the similarities I've heard. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
Boy, that was exhausting.
Damn, guys.
Yeah.
Damn.
Blizzard,
All I
turns
gotta
out, has the same idea over and over again for its villains. I remember when I was playing Warcraft 3 the first time, and Arthas, you see him starting to get corrupted slowly, and you're kind of like, And then when you switch to the undead, and you realize you're playing as Arthas, I'm like, really, guys?
Yep.
This is just
That's like that seems like an issue that happened when they started getting more and more popular because, you know, they dealt with Warcraft originally in strategy games and StarCraft also in RTS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Diablo is a much different kind of animal, and I feel like once the RTS games started, you know, especially Warcraft, started kind of moving more toward the RPG aspect of things,
Yeah.
they just didn't have enough diversity in their ideas. They were like,
Yeah.
well, we'll just recycle this.
Yeah. The art
Still a
styles
good
are also merging too, because like the
Oh,
more
man.
recent StarCraft art, it all looks like WoW armor that like all
Well,
the
it's because
Protoss-
Samwise does all of it, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's just funny that it's getting like it's all like just merging into one thing.
Yeah, that's
I guess
pretty good.
I guess it's fine though because it's cool looking, but just all the big heads and big hands. Like when I saw Raynor, and I'm like, that when in in Wings of Liberty when he has like the giant hands and the giant head. I'm like, what's going on? you're a character now. Yeah.
My heart will always belong to Rock and Roll Racers.
Oh yeah.
There's just something about hearing an 8-bit version of Paranoid that just makes me intensely happy.
Yeah.
That's a solid point, actually.
As I'm saying,
that is a solid
I've
point.
mentioned before, but if you guys have not played Blackthorn, if you want to go to the old Blizzard games, it holds up very well.
I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of it.
It's like this kind of stealth shooty thing game where you play a dude with long hair named Blackthorn.
Oh, you mean StarCraft Ghost? Oh no,
yeah.
wait.
It's a side
soon.
It's a side scroller. I know, I'm sad.
Yeah, what's the apocalypse ability in that game?
I don't know. You like shoot orcs, but they're orcs with guns, and anyway, and
40k orcs.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's
so they just like went into MS Paint and took some sprites from Warcraft and put some guns in their hands.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's pretty cool though.
I gotta say, I was kind of like disappointed that I had to do all this research like online because I just wished that I had my old like manuals for these games, you know, where they detail all the little monsters and they give you little descriptions and what they are and the variants. Would have been so useful. Instead I had to use the internet.
Yeah, when I was looking up images of Diablo, like these old images, I'm like, I saw that like in magazines. I remember whenever you buy a Blizzard game, the old ones, you get like a little magazine that has like ads for all the other Blizzard games, and I was staring at that Diablo for so long, and then there's one for Warcraft Lord of the Clans that's coming out soon, and I'm like, I can't wait for Lord of the Clans to come out.
Any day, man.
It's gonna be the best. And then
I gotta say, I was also like a little bit unclear as to what monsters I could use.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, you got like the hidden ones, right, in Diablo, like the little guys, and you got all the insects in like Act 2, but I don't feel like any of those are Diablo's minions. They're just like random shit you have to fight through to get
they're
the
just
quest
hanging
off.
out.
That's right.
Stuff that's in Sanctuary that's like monsters, but they don't necessarily serve him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't go with any of those, but I think you could probably make an argument for some of them.
Yeah.
But there's so many fucking monsters in all these games. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention my werewolves.
When did Arthas get werewolves? I didn't play WoW.
In World of Warcraft.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
The
I never got that
Worgen are
far.
basically on the side of the Scourge.
Oh, are they?
Don't you have gargoyles too?
I had gargoyles, I have Wendigos, I have ice trolls, I have...
I mean, I'm just saying, man, we've already established that gargoyles, don't really hold up so much.
Oh, man,
really,
I have the most emo minions. They're called the Dark Fallen, and they are...
Wow.
They are vampire elf necromancers.
That's the thing that like the 13-year-old me would have made up.
Yeah.
Like if I was coming up with
vampire elf necromancers.
Like I said that, and a lock of hair just detached itself and fell over my eye.
Yeah,
like that's what happens when you say Dark Fallen.
Wow, and with your hairstyle, that's impressive. Like that's not natural.
Yeah.
I keep it slicked back most of the time.
Longer. Yeah.
Oh god, Dark Fallen. That's hysterical.
Dark Fallen. Come on.
Ugh.
Oh, that should have been my click name.
Yeah. Oh, that really should have been. I was not happy.
I hear
order.
Either someone's knocking at the door or.
All right. Again, this was hard because they're so darn similar. Everyone was incredibly good, and I must say that lightning round. Remember, guys, no prep. That was amazing.
Yeah, no prep, but definitely no prep for that one.
I think the no prep was pretty clear. Like,
you guys did a great job. This person though absolutely killed it. Lich King, Arthas.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Absolutely killed it.
It's because I said I might consider having his babies, wasn't it?
I think it was really the obscure D&D reference that did it.
Oh man!
Oh my god, that was.
You got to embrace it at some point.
Oh my god! But no. Like Colin and Miles, you did a really good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Dan also did a very good job, and I am not at all ashamed to go down to a worthy opponent.
Those rebuttals were incredible. Good job.
I've been here the whole time. Anyway, big thanks to Anton Belain and Rafael Medina, as always, for sharing our episodes and spreading the Smash Fiction word.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Smash Fiction. Next week, Inigo Montoya versus Zorro.
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman, with logo design by Colin Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod for our theme song, which is called Hitman. You can find his works at www.incompetech.com.
You can follow Smash Fiction on Facebook at facebook.com/smashfictionpodcast and on Twitter at smashficpodcast.
Find us on iTunes, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
Dun dun dun.
Nice.
Dun 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 dun.
And it's gonna be a great ball of fun! Come down to Bargain Me and Smash Fiction!